for Mr. Albert.
Thank you. Did you all know before, I think the announcement had just been made that I was appointed, and I got an email from someone named John Parrington. And I called John, and he said, Oliver, I know all about you. I know how many kids you have. I know where you went to school. I know every place you've ever worked, and I want you to come to the Kiwanis Club. Absolutely. I was Kiwanian in the prior jurisdiction I worked in. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting to know everyone here in this organization. And this is all just incredibly overwhelming. Thank you for the warm welcome. Thank you for having me here today. So excited to get to know everybody. I don't typically like to talk about myself, so I thought I put a quick little presentation together that I used to introduce myself. The city staff adapted it a little bit for this audience. During my career, I've had a chance to work for the California State Legislature, worked for the city of Arcadia for a while, worked for the city of Claremont and Rosemead. There's a little note there. It says, if you see that, it says consultant. I was a consultant for a little bit. One of the job hazards of being a city manager, sometimes you become unemployed. And that happened to me, actually. An earlier version of myself, I had the fortune or misfortune of being asked to serve as a city manager for the city of Rosemead when I was 27. And at 27, I thought I could do it. Absolutely. You want me to do that? No problem. Sign me up. Put me in, coach. I think the problem when you're 27, you're probably a little immature. A lot of things I could have done better. A lot of things that I learned from that experience. I think there was a point in my career when I look back, it's almost a little embarrassing when you're younger. You know, I think ambition is important. I think at times it helped drive us forward. But I think at that point in my career in Rosemead, I was more focused on career advancement than I was on doing really good work. And so in retrospect and looking back at the course of the things I've had the privilege to do, being let go and being fired really from the city of Rosemead was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. It gave me a couple of years to rethink about what's important to me, what's important about what did I want to do with my life and career? How did I want to best serve? And through that process, I think I really feel blessed I had an opportunity eventually to get back working for a community. Growing up, I thought I wanted to get into politics. I realized later I wanted to serve the public, not necessarily get into politics. Thank you to all the folks that do step up and serve in that role. Being an elected official, super hard. I had a chance to work in Sacramento for a while. It takes a special person with a special approach to be able to do that type of work, and that really wasn't my makeup. And so I think for me, the chance to work in a public sector setting where you have a chance to actually make some tangible improvements in an area, in a city, in a community, that's something that really inspires me, and I feel so privileged to be able to work in a context that every single day doesn't feel like work. So after my little brief stint out as a consultant, i.e. unemployed, I had a chance to go and work for the city of Barstow. Nothing like Huntington Beach, I get it. Probably if you're thinking of opposites, you might be thinking Huntington Beach and Barstow, but Barstow is an amazing community with lots of terrific people, a lot of folks that had knowledge about things that had to happen in the organization, in the community. Fortunately, I had the chance to help a little bit in that process. It's a big military town. It was a terrific opportunity to get to know folks in that context a little bit better. The last 5 years before coming here, I've had the privilege of serving a community in the San Gabriel Valley called the city of Monrovia. I hear, that's right. We have a couple of Monrovia folks who know where Monrovia is. It's located just a little bit east of Pasadena. One of the, reminds me a lot of Huntington Beach in a lot of ways. Monrovia is very close-knit. Even though it's a city, you can feel the energy every day, a connectedness. And the last 3-4 weeks that I've had a chance to be part of Huntington Beach, the city organization, I felt that same type of connectedness. From when we had the explosion at Old World to when Steve Carr had his incident, different things have just really articulated for me how special Huntington Beach is. And even though it is a big city, I continue to be impressed. It feels like a small town. And that's a tremendously cool thing to be able to be part of. So along the course of my career, there's a couple things I've learned that hopefully will help bring value to what we do here in Huntington Beach moving forward. One of the things that I have learned is that for an organization to be successful, people have to come first always. And that's something I think that whether you work in the public sector or private sector, the way that you can move forward to achieve something really spectacular is really through the work, the coordinated work of people together. And I think to be effective, people need to have clarity over what's important, clarity over how are we supposed to behave and act together within our organization, clarity over what our priorities are, what should we be fixing moving ahead. And that's why I think organizational mission, values, sometimes that stuff feels a little soft. I think it's really central to effective organizations that you articulate those things and be clear about what matters if you're going to be part of a certain organization or team. I'm team first. I have a team first mentality. I think when you think about the world that we live in, a lot of times people are saying this war for talent is important, and I totally agree. People are the pathway through which you can achieve really great things. But if you have to pick someone who's super talented versus someone who might not be quite as smart but is willing to work together, I think 100 times out of 100 I pick someone who wants to work together as a team. There's that saying, I think it's an African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I think together is a better way to go. It's more sustainable. You can achieve better results long term by focusing on team rather than self. The other thing I try to do, and sometimes it gets me in trouble, but I try to over-communicate and over-share information, especially in government nowadays. Really, there are certain things we need to keep confidential, but 99% of what a city does is public, right? And private sector organizations, one of the most closely guarded secrets is salary information. If anyone wants to know how much every single city employee here makes, there's a website you can go to. Some dude in Arizona puts all our salaries up online every single day and gets people really frustrated and angry sometimes. It's one of the things we're hoping to be able to do is be really transparent in what we do, because most of what we do really isn't a secret, and it shouldn't be. So as I've learned things through the course of my career, it's also helped shape things that I believe. And I think some of the things I know I believe today to be true are sort of highlighted here. I feel like working in the public sector, do you all get a sense the world feels a little bit out of balance, that there's this intense focus on the individual and being smart, and everyone needs to be heard, and everyone needs to be right, and let's fight when we feel like someone's not articulated things in a way that we want. And in my mind, all of those trends point to this, almost unhealthy focus on me, right? The individual. And I think as a world, it feels like we're a little bit too off course. I've shared this anecdote a couple times with our team. Like, what does it mean that in this world, Kim Kardashian is the most famous person on the planet? Like, what does that say about us as a society, right? There's this sort of unhealthy focus, this unhealthy narcissism almost that seems to permeate. The world keeps telling us that's what you need to do. I don't believe that is the best way to serve. I don't believe that's the best way to live. I think as people, as humans, we're happiest when we serve others. And the world right now feels like it's telling us, serve yourself. And I think for an organization to be effective and be successful, I think what we need is a focus on more humility, more selflessness, that serving others, service to others is something that inherently will not just make folks feel better about themselves, but it makes an organization more effective. And at the city, how lucky are all of us to live in a community that has that ethos to serve others. You see the volunteer base in Huntington Beach, it's overwhelming. For the folks that get to work and have the privilege of working for you at the city, that's our job, is to serve the people of Huntington Beach. How cool is that? And I just really think that if we keep a focus on we, the collective, how do we serve others better, it works so much better than if we have a focus just on the individual or on the me. So all of that being said, I just can't believe every day I get to come to work and forget Huntington Beach. Like, we're in Huntington Beach. Can you believe that? It blows my mind. It's Huntington Beach. It's Huntington Beach, right? Like, we have the beach and the pier and the downtown and all the stuff that makes us so amazing. Like, we get a chance to be part of that and try to make that better. How insanely lucky are we? And I love that opportunity. I'm so appreciative of the chance to be part of this community and team to try to make Huntington Beach the best beach city in the world. I don't see any reason. We have all of the assets and resources to really make that aspiration an actual thing that can be true. There's no reason we shouldn't be thinking about how to make our community the absolute best city in the world. Cities are really confined by infrastructure, right? Like where you're located, geography, what the history of that city's development has been. Huntington Beach, we're just so blessed that we've had folks before us and folks that will come after us that have put us in a position where we have an opportunity to be ranked as one of the best cities already. You know, you go Google, we're ranked as a top 5 or 10 city on just about any publication you can think of. How lucky are we to be part of that, to be able to try to improve that? And the other thing that struck me is, spend any amount of time here in Huntington Beach, how many people here just love this community? It's infectious. You drive around town and people have their HB license plate, right? HB whatever, some variation of that. Everyone's got an HB sticker on their car. There is so much passion for this community from the people in it. What I've seen is there's so much passion from the city staff at the city organization that wants to help make this an even better place. To be able to be part of that, it's such a privilege, and I think one of the things, it's just, I'm so appreciative of this chance to be able to come and try to do my part to make this the best community that it can be. What folks can expect from me, it's a picture of my family. I've been married to my wife, Bobby Jo, now for almost 20 years. We have 2 kids. Ian, he's 7. He's a 2nd grader. My poor son had 2 first days of 2nd grade this year. In LA County, we do things a little backwards. We start school in August. Thank God in Huntington Beach, we still do things the way they're supposed to be done. School starts after Labor Day. So we had him enrolled in school in Monrovia, but then he started school here right after Labor Day. Our daughter Avery is 3. She's at LaPorte Montessori right now and just loving the experience. I really have 2 passions in my life, my family and the work that I get a chance to do. Both of those are things I try to approach with a lot of energy and passion. I recognize that I'm not from Huntington Beach. I have a lot to learn about this community, the culture. I have a lot to learn about the city organization, and what you can expect from me is definitely I'm working to adapt my approach to fit with what already works here, and I'm always going to make sure that I make myself as accessible as possible. I think that's stressing some of our team out a little bit. I give my cell phone out very freely, and if you need to reach me, feel free to contact me directly. I think that's definitely something I can commit that you can expect from me, a lot of accessibility. If you need anything, feel free to let me know. I'm tremendously hopeful and optimistic that the things I've learned along the course of my career, the things that I believe can add value to an already amazing community. I try to approach everything I do through a lens of can we find consensus? And I think in today's world, there's not enough of that. Everyone feels the need to win every discussion or argument. My hope and goal is that we can all win together. And if a tough decision has to be made, I'll absolutely make that decision. But I've never encountered an experience where if we're being thoughtful, you can't find a way to try to make and find consensus on difficult issues. I drink a lot of coffee nonstop. It's the fuel that keeps me going. It's really cool. A place I used to work, I told folks this story. We actually had a machine that made caffeinated water. You know, that's a thing now. There's caffeine water. It's so cool. I'm also a big sports nut. I know we're in the Orange County now, but I'm still a Dodger fan. I'm still a Laker fan. So if there are any, I made a very small type. If there are any Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim fans or Clipper fans, please don't talk to me. I prefer the Kings over the Ducks also, and I'm not sure that's going to change. I'm sorry, I'm not sure that's going to change either. Like I said, I really don't like talking about myself very much. So that's just a quick introduction to who I am, some of what you can expect from me. I'm really looking forward to getting to know everyone here and getting to know the community better and moving ahead. If there's anything that I can do to help or assist with, please don't ever hesitate to let me know.
Thank you, Oliver.